So, this article got my attention that was on Yahoo yesterday. The name of the article is WWE is broadcasting Logan Paul in a strategic way so viewers at home don't hear him getting mercilessly booed. Okay, so I'm just going to read an excerpt from this article. All right, let me just find the line I'm trying to read. This article is basically about WWE trying to make Logan Hall into not Logan Hall, Logan Paul. Okay, so it's about making Logan Paul into a up and coming babyface superstar. For those of you who don't know what that wrestling term babyface means, it's a term used for guys that they're trying to push to be superstars but are good guys. Kind of like, Hulk Hogan, John Cena were all baby faces when they were first with the WWE, since that they were always playing the role of the good guys. And they're trying to do that now with Logan Paul, but the problem is that he's getting booed. He's getting booed by large crowds of people, so they're having a hard time selling him as a baby face for WWE fans. So it says, I'm going to read this excerpt right here. It says WWE is determined to nurture internet celebrity Logan Paul as an upcoming babyface superstar, according to backstage news from Wrestling Incorporated. The only issue, that report says, is that live audiences have been booing Paul, a YouTuber who has shaken up combat sports as a novice boxer and now as a sports entertainer. To prevent that merciless jeering from being heard on broadcast, the WWE has begun airing Paul's segment after he's already been introduced to the live crowd in an attempt to get any initial booing out of the way. I saw them attempt this the other night, a few nights ago on Monday Night Raw. I did watch part of Raw live. He still got a lot of boos even when they attempted this method. I did see some cheers for him too, to be honest. It was kind of like mixed, but it wasn't uniformly everyone cheering him. That was very evident if you watched his introduction and his fight with the Miz. Just he wasn't getting cheered on 100%. There was a bunch of boos. I think at best it might have been 50% booing, 50% cheers, at one point in time. But there was a time where he was getting largely booed. It was like the whole entire arena was against him. So, what is my thoughts about this? Well, first off, I just want to mention this feud between him and The Miz that they're trying to build up is very funny. Only reason I find it funny is because they're both not likable. The Miz has always been annoying. Logan Paul's annoying. I would say both of them are trolls. They're kind of like mirror image reflections of each other. Like the Miz is like kind of like an older version of Logan Paul. The Miz is around 40 or 41 years old, so he's born in 1980 or 81. So they're separated by a generation or so, obviously, but they're very similar to some degree when you think about The Miz and Logan Paul. The Miz was the first reality TV superstar. He became famous off of the real world, and he was able to parlay that into a career with WWE. That's really what got their attention. Just that put him on the map, being on the real world. Logan Paul is kind of like the modern day version of The Miz in some ways, that he became big off of his YouTube channel, off of his pranks, off of his stunts. That's how he's got his notoriety. I've seen he's done other things since then. He has his own show or podcast called Impulsive. That's doing well. I think he has like over millions of subscribers to that. So they're very similar, just in that regard. Their rise was kind of flukish to some degree, kind of took a lot of luck and just they rode with it, but they were both able to get where they wanted to go. I don't know if the WWE is one of Logan Paul's ultimate goals to be with him full time. I have a hard time believing that Logan Paul wants to be a full time wrestler since he's already made millions of dollars just doing what he does, just off of his podcasts and off of his hijinks and off of the other stuff he's doing. So I'm not sure he's gonna be a guy who's gonna be in for a long term with the WWE. I could be wrong. I could be wrong about this, but I think WWE is marketing him wrong if they actually want him to be a wrestling superstar. I don't think Logan Paul can be a good guy. I think he can become a heel. He's very not likable. He's a super troll. I know people will say he has a lot of fans. Yes, he has millions of subscribers, but I bet you there's millions of more people that despise him that outnumber his subscribers. So I don't think he can ever become like a good guy in the mold of John Cena or WWE Hulk Hogan. Just I don't see that in the cards for Logan Paul. So if WWE has an investment in him, they should invest in him becoming like a hateable heel. That's something I think he could be great at. He knows how to get people to hate him. He knows how to get underneath people's skin. I think he would be great in a heel role. I think he could be up there as a great heel. You know, maybe up there with Triple H as one of the greatest heels of WWE ever. Granted, I can't comment much on his wrestling. I haven't seen much of it, so he has a long ways to work since he's an amateur. But I think if we're talking from a market perspective, you know, off of his personality and his charisma, I think he's more appropriate to be a heel than a good guy. So that's the way I view it. Also, I don't know what WWE's doing with him. Like if they're really that serious about him, to me, it kind of shows that the WWE's reaching for straws and they're desperate to get ratings, and they're hoping maybe Logan Paul can save them. I don't get it, but maybe the WWE's desperate. This is a sign of it. It could be just they don't really have any young wrestlers that stick out. Really, just this generation is probably the weakest generation of talent WWE has had in a long, long time. Like they've had eras where they've always had a few iconic guys, and right now I don't see it. I think their top guy is Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. Those guys don't compare to the Attitude Era of The Rock, Stone Cold, etc. And just even the superstar era of the 90s with Razor Ramon, Bret Hart. I'm trying to think of some others. There's Bret Hart, Razor Ramon, Lex Luger, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels. Just you had like, Diesel, also known as Kevin Nash. None those guys don't compare to the superstar era or the attitude era or the 80s era when you had Hogan, Macho Man and company. So I just think WWE doesn't have a lot of talent right now, and it shows now that they're trying to market Logan Paul so that they're hoping they can get something out of it. But to me, I think WWE does not know what they're doing since they're trying to market him as a babyface when he would be better as a heel. And the fact that they are after Logan Paul really shows they're directionless. So that's what I think about this.